more about what's coming. 3.1 update was recently
launched. Oh, sorry, I should probably explain, right? So for those who don't know, Genshin put out some sort of post somewhere, saying actually talking about their endgame and why they aren't adding an endgame or something along those lines. And I'm just gonna watch Mtashed kind of like review of this because he's a rather intelligent man when it comes to these things. He's played games for a very long time, so rather intelligent person. And so that's why we're watching this.
Live, we asked about endgame content, resin caps, costumes, and more. In their response, the developers touch on what's currently being worked on, as well as potential ideas for the future. This article is either going to make me rage, or I'm going to be like, oh, hey, what? This is going to be interesting. I wonder how much they will reveal in this. Versions 3.0, 3.1 are expected 1 week shorter than usual.
So Kyo to make a post about Genshin, something like you said he cares about the endgame, PvP, and more. That's also the reason why he quit the game because... that's what they quit the game because the game doesn't have any of those. I'm glad to see people like you who care about the game content exist. Unlike most creators I've seen, they don't seem to care much about that. They just want to milk every character that comes out for even more money. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Well, on the surface, there's nothing wrong with that, but there is an underlying problem with that of they want to milk something until it's dry. PvP and gacha is a recipe of doom. That's absolutely wrong, Albert. That's absolutely wrong. If it's done correctly, it can be absolutely amazing.
That's, I guess, to keep up with the timeline, but I honestly am really liking that the updates are like 5 weeks instead of 6 weeks. It feels a lot more rapid that, we're going from 3.1 to 3.
Yeah, for those who don't know as well, what Mtashed is essentially talking about right now is Genshin reduced the overall length of its patches from 6 weeks to 5 weeks. This does have some problems with essentially less time to save for characters, but the pros heavily outweigh the cons. And he's probably going to outline in just a second here. But essentially, you get to cycle through characters more, you get to get through more content quicker, and thus the game is going to just feel a lot faster, a lot more kind of upbeat. So yeah, that's essentially what he's talking about. For those who don't know, Genshin did that recently with, I think, the 3.0 and then onwards.
3.2, all that stuff. I actually am having a lot more fun because of it. Yep. It feels rapid fire and good.
Yeah, there you go.
I like that. Personally, I don't, it probably won't stay like this. Will it return to its former pace? Version 3.0 to the end of 3.2. The length of each update has been shortened to 5 weeks.
Hopefully they keep it, though. Hopefully they keep it.
The update cycle will not influence the quality. Please stay tuned. So they didn't say it will go back, but the 5 weeks is very nice. Currently, the Spiral Abyss is the only endgame for content for players of high adventure ranks. Are there any plans to release new permanent endgame content? Spiral Abyss is one of the most effective ways to test their party compositions and combat strength. If we design another type of permanent endgame that is similar to the Spiral Abyss, it might end up creating excessive anxiety for our players.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the?
Not everyone is interested in Musk Reef. What? Just like...
Yeah, that's unfortunate that they did say that. It is unfortunate the words that did come out of their mouths is don't want to end up creating excessive anxiety for our players, because that's just wrong. That's just wrong. The content doesn't create anxiety for the players. It's the players who feel the weight of it and don't know how to manage it that they create the anxiety for themselves. Here's the thing. There's a reason that shooter games have quick play, which is essentially your run-of-the-mill, go in there, have fun game mode, and then they have ranked, is because one is high intensity, high stress, and that's what you're doing it for, whilst the other one is for just general fun, right? And if you care about the endgame content and endgame competitiveness, but you can't deal with the anxiety, sucks to be you. Sucks to be you, doesn't it? How will you implement actual PvP in Genshin? You limit how it's done. It will be like Tower Fantasy. Tower Fantasy PvP has nothing wrong with it except for the fact that it's action combat with PvP, ping. So, like, Tower Fantasy is not a bad example of PvP. Because things like Terra exist, things like BDO exist in their action combat, and those PvP games have those games have amazing PvP, and the only bad part about it is when you have shitty internet connection. So Tower Fantasy isn't a bad example of PvP. Meanwhile, gacha character, gacha artifact exploring already give you anxiety. Well, no. let's not be too critical now. I'm mainly talking about end game content here. Those other things don't really matter in the sense of if people are gonna feel stressed about it, it's because you're self-inflicting the stress upon you. The reason I feel stressed about some things is because I'm like, I want to be better in this, but I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm not self-inflicting that stress. Stress in games, specifically in this type of thing when it comes to end game content, is always self-inflicted. Not the game isn't inflicting stress on you. You're inflicting it on yourself because you, for some reason, think that you need to do this. You don't need to do it. You're saying to yourself that you do need to do it, though. It's all self-inflicted.
Like the TCG that will be unveiled in 3.2, we are also working on designing more interesting gameplay in the future. As an open-world game, Genshin Impact has a natural compatibility with various types of gameplay, which gives us confidence in the long-term operation. What?
Yeah, that's...
It's gonna give our players anxiety to have a place to test all of our characters and artifacts?
Yeah, absolutely drivel. Garbage.
It's gonna give us a reason
Drivel.
to play the game.
No.
Yeah, Musk Reef is the Spiral Abyss, if you guys don't know what that is. This isn't a new location or thing they're working on. But this also means if we design another type of permanent endgame, means we haven't even considered crafting any new endgame. This means they haven't even considered designing anything new. There's nothing new coming. There will be no endgame. There will be nothing. It will be minigames. And you know what? I've accepted that Genshin is fun to mess around with. I'm genuinely having fun today because we've been messing around. We did the Spiral Abyss that's available. We did our Kaching. Will I get bored? I'm sure many of us will. What is the point of having this?
True.
Right? Long term, if there's no endgame. But I would be lying if I said I haven't been fun dicking around with Kaching, checking out her talents, getting artifacts for her, building her up, and using her. It's just after I've used her for a bit, I'll say, okay, that was fun. And I will need new toys to play with, new characters to play with, to test out and have fun with. But if there's never going to be any more endgame, there's going to be a lifespan for this game that's you know, for me, I won't be able to stay sane playing it, and we'll probably play other stuff. But 3.0,
and it goes back to the thing, you know, for the past fair few patches, I've pretty much said that Genshin is not an endgame content game. It's a happy-go-lucky game. It's a game where you come to just have fun. There's no semblance of a video game here. If anyone here has ever played Club Penguin, if you've ever played Habbo Hotel, if you've ever played these games where it's just a hub where you hang out with people, that's what Genshin Impact feels like at this point. You kind of have collectibles, you kind of have cosmetics that kind of mean something, but not really. You just kind of get online or get onto the community like pages and just hang out with people. You're not actually here for a game. You're not really here for anything, kind of. There's a story to follow. It's good. It's rather well crafted. Not told really well, but it's well crafted. It's a really good story. Just told like a garbage piece of shit. But that's about it. You're not actually here for a game. You might as well just read a book. They might as well transcribe all of Genshin into a book, and it'll probably be the exact same effect as it in a game. Maybe have a visual novel. It's the same thing. Turn it into a manga. It'll be the same thing as the game. There's no real value to the game right now. There's no gameplay. It's just game. And you don't want that. It's fucking garbage. Boring.
Fun. So we take a break, we come back, we test out the new stuff. But let's be honest here. I think a lot of people are interested in the Spiral Abyss and beyond. I think a lot of people not being interested is because they're bored.
Yeah. No. Wait, what?
I know that some people are not there yet. I know that some people can't beat it, but I mean, I think that they need something.
You know, I don't understand that. Genshin is a game meant to enjoy, not meant to be its life. Well, that's the weird part. That's the weird part now, right? Because it's like games in like most players enjoy competitiveness, right? Like, do you not enjoy becoming better, right? Not you specifically, sorry, but just generally, people, do you not enjoy becoming better? Overcoming trials, tribulations, right? If I encounter a wall, I want to overcome that wall. And so when there's no wall in Genshin, there's a mound. In Genshin has mounds. You just walk over them. It takes 2 seconds to get the power to walk over it, right? And so it's so weird to be like, the game is fun. The game is fun, but it's not. And so back to the point that I want to make is, it's mentioning Spiral Abyss and how like Mtashed just said that some people aren't there. I find that so confusing. How are you not there to the point where you can at least clear Spiral Abyss floor 12? Maybe not 36 star. Maybe you can't 36 star. That's fine. But how can you not clear it? Specifically, if you've been if you're a player who's been playing for enough time for it to be expected of you to clear it. And that's essentially, if you've been playing for at least a year, it's expected of you to clear Spiral Abyss. It's expected. And I'm saying if you're playing it essentially on a day-to-day basis, maybe every second day basis, you're giving it a bit of time, you're expected to clear Spiral Abyss. At least have the means to clear Spiral Abyss. Because I know there are people out there who say, oh, I can't clear Spiral Abyss. And then you ask them how long you've been playing the game, and they hit you with the, oh, I've been playing for 2 months. It's like, yeah, you're not meant to be able to clear it after 2 months. But MiHoYo would take that into consideration as, oh, these players are valued players. No! You've been playing for 2 months. You're not valuable. You're not. You are expendable. You could stop playing and it wouldn't impact anything. But MiHoYo for some reason cares. Very odd. Very odd. Let's continue.
To obtain. But here's the other thing you have to really think about is, just like the TCG that we unveiled, we're also working on designing more interesting gameplay in the future. They're more interested in different experiences and mini games and things like tag that might be fun and throwing things at the...
And this is exactly why I think it feels a lot more like Habbo Hotel. For those who don't know, it's just a hub game where you just are there with other players doing random shit, as well as something like Club Penguin. You're just in a hub playing mini games, right? If Genshin's going towards a bit more of just like a mini game kind of game, it's just like, where's the longevity? Like, there's only so many times that I can play Whack-A-Mole before I become an expert and want to move on, right? There's only so many times I can play, you know, I can play the goddamn musical event before I'm like, okay, well, this is not Osu, so I'm leaving, right? There's only so many times. But if they add an end game where there's infinite scaling of enemies, and every time they add a new character, there's new possibilities, you know? Hey, what's up, Province? Welcome to stream. What's the topic? Genshin's newest kind of gamer post about endgame. It's a, you know, they essentially summary, they've said they don't want to add a competitive endgame, they just want to keep it chill. If you want an exact kind of summary, you can go back a bit. We only started this recently, but let's continue with the video. Let's let Mtashed speak.
Wall to see what sticks over combat events. That's the way I'm viewing that. Is just like the TCG. We're super proud of the TCG. We want this trading card game in. It's different. It's fun. It's unique. We want more fun, unique things. That will definitely be the focus. Mini games, for sure. Genshin Impact is going into year 2 with an ever-expanding roster. Some older characters might be left behind as power creep settles in and newer characters become strong choices. Is there a plan to potentially upgrade old characters and make them more viable? If a character is only assessed by a single dimension of numerical strength, power creep could indeed be an issue. However, in Genshin Impact, the rules of gameplay are more impactful than how strong a character is. Therefore, new battlegrounds, new challenging levels, or even new team builds all have potential to bring a new...
No. That's just wrong. Sorry, I'm gonna stop right here. That's just wrong. So however, in Genshin Impact, the rules of the gameplay are more impactful than how strong a character is. Therefore, new battlegrounds, new challenges levels, and even new team builds all have potential to bring new life to existing content. That's just incorrect. I'm sorry, but using, let's say, something like a Candace with a Diluc isn't gonna make Diluc good, right? Using a Yunjin with a Diluc isn't gonna make Diluc good. Diluc will always be shit now. Diluc is always, from essentially since Hu Tao's release, and exponentially ever since then Yoimiya's release, Diluc has had no value in the game. So them release, like, it's gonna revitalize them to a certain degree, but if the game, for example, if Diluc is here, essentially right here, and the enemies are up here, are beyond the screen, beyond, like, the camera, Candace isn't gonna boost him all the way to the sky. That's not it. No. That is, okay, whatever. Fuck, that pissed me off so much, because I have such a good idea for this. I've made a video about this, and how characters can have multiple elemental bursts, and the new elemental burst can revitalize the character in a different way, and at the same time, they revisit the character and kind of tweak them here and there. But that idea is definitely terrible.
New life to existing content. Okay? Sure, but if my Xiangling hits harder than my Diluc and I need a fire character, then I will use Xiangling over Diluc. And no activity unless using your ability, your E ability 3 times gives you 500% more damage. There will be no reason to use Diluc. You can only do damage because you have a Pyro infusion. Okay, well, yeah, maybe then I'll use
dude.
Diluc. But,
Fucking golden. Mtashed is a king,
no
man.
Rule rules of gameplay for the most part
He's a king.
that will like. No, this is I just don't agree with that. The rules of gameplay are more impactful than how strong character is. No.
Yeah, no.
How strong the character is going to be the reason I use them or I don't use them. There's a reason why there's tier lists in a meta. And what are you possibly going to do in a new battleground unless you're putting up all the enemies on ledges and Ganyu is the best slot, right? Or Amber headshotting people. You'll never use Amber.
Well,
I'm never gonna
even then, Tignari exists. Like, other bow characters that are more recent are better and easier to use, right? Tignari, you don't even have to aim. You just shoot the ground, and he has auto-tracking shots. So it's like, even then, you wouldn't even use those characters, because there's other more recent ones that are better. It's crazy.
Use Amber over any other pyro unit in the game, unless you're putting everyone up on a ledge, and I need to snipe them off to then attack them.
Well, then Yoimiya
yeah,
is better than
Amber's gonna
Amber.
Shoot up in the meta a little bit. This is telling me old characters, if they're not good now, they'll never be good.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Unless something like Dendro happens. Unless something happens like, you know, Xingqiu to Pyro, right? If you look at Xingqiu and Pyro, or Yelan and Pyro, right? If we look at Dendro to Electro, unless there's a game-changing character that really changes the functions, old characters are going to be what they are. New characters are going to be what they are. The entire post so far is copium saying, our game is fun, enjoy it. We're going to do lots of fun stuff. Don't stress out about the numbers. And that's okay. It is what it is. The introduction of Dendro has created plenty of new elemental reactions. Some elements have been left out. Are there discussions regarding adding
this is a good one.
reactions? For example, a Geo and Dendro reaction. We have no such plans at the time being.
Oh!
As
Oh no, bro, you never start a sentence off with "we have no such plans." Bro, Geo, like, I know I said it in the last Genshin stream that Geo is like the long forgotten element essentially, and it's gonna be just a raw element. It's only gonna be just Geo. It's never gonna be Geo plus anything. But you don't just outright say it. That's so disappointing. Because like Shatter, fucking Crystallize, they could all be such good elements, but you're just saying, nah, terrible, we're not gonna do it. Come on, man.
the reactions are what they are. With easy and open rules, given some time, players will come discover new ways of optimizing.
What do you mean they'll discover, bro? What do you mean they'll discover? The game's been discovered. The game's been done, dude. The best way to describe it as Genshin is it's been done.
Developing builds. This is the fun of the game. Wait. Hold on, I missed this part. There are other ways to increase the fun for players rather than simply increasing the complexity of game rules.
What? What? No shot. They said that. For us, there are... For us! For who? The dev? There are other ways to increase the fun. For the players rather than simply increasing the complexity of game rules. How? How do you do that? That's like the one fundamental way to increase fun, is by complexity and thus figuring it out. What do you mean? With easy and open rules, given some time, players will come to discover their own ways of developing builds. These guys are smoking some wacko tobacco crack over there, dude. They're smoking some weird shit over there in Mtashed. There's no shot they believe this. Absolutely no fucking way they believe this.
This part. There are other ways to increase the fun for players rather than simply increasing the complexity of game rules. Gamers! We're not 5 years old. We can all read and figure out what reactions do. Like, throwing more reactions in and giving us more tools is not going to make us be like, oh, I don't know how to play anymore. I don't know. I don't really agree with that. The balancing of gameplay rules is part of the team's long-term focus. The team's experience and learning for feedback in the long run are all important to maintain the focus. Okay, sure. But I think a lot of us have been giving feedback on the end game, and you have no plans of doing that. I think a lot of us have been giving feedback on resin, and there's no plan of changing that, I'm sure. The world to VAT continues to expand, giving players so many more challenges to complete daily. Between domains, bosses, and ley lines, is there a chance we can see a cap increase? Domains, bosses, and ley lines are important means to farm a character and essential materials. Meanwhile, we're also providing more options for gamers to obtain character development items. For example, many character and weapon materials can be obtained and redeemed from events that we run periodically.
Bro, I like how they can give a definitive no to will we see a Geo-Dendro reaction, right? They can give you a definitive nah. Will we see Geo-Dendro? Nah. then the question gets asked, will we see a resin cap increase? And they're like, well, if we look at the possibilities, actually, and we analyze the statistical analysis of all the quantum physical realms in reality, we can actually come to the conclusion that we are trying to increase the possibilities of you actually getting some potential bitches, but we actually came to the conclusion the answer is 0. What do you... How? Just say yes or no if you're going to increase the resin cap, and tell us if you are. If you are, what is it? What? This is so many extra steps for no reason, man.
So no, they will not give you more resin. They will not let you play more daily. They want you to FOMO into events to get it.
Yeah.
So the answer is no.
Yes.
There will never be more resin. So we know this now. There will be no end game. There will be no resin.
Bro,
Nope.
Bro, that's like the easiest way to make someone stop playing the game. There will be no fun. There will be no resin. There'll be no end game. There'll be nothing. There's nothing happening. Welcome to Genshin. Come
no more extra
on.
resin, no more end game ever. We're talking even into the end of Natlin, into the end of Shneznaya. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to get mad about it anymore. They have specifically said, I'm not going to hopium anymore. If I see an update, if I see an Archon quest that looks good, I'll play them. If a minigame gives me a cool weapon that I want to do, I'll play it. But I am not going to stress about it anymore.
And this is what I think I mentioned a fair few streams ago, is like in terms of FOMO. Mtashed has conquered FOMO. Mtashed, I think early in Genshin, had extreme cases of FOMO, fear of missing out. And once you conquer this, you can move on, right? Once you conquer FOMO, you can just let go, right? He has conquered FOMO. Obviously, to conquer it, you need to experience it heavily. And once you understand that nothing will come out of asking, and this is specifically only to Genshin devs and specific devs. This is not obviously of every dev. Some devs are very reciprocal with player feedback. But once you conquer FOMO, you are such a much happier person. And I feel like I've recently conquered FOMO. I used to, and that's with my second 2 accounts of Genshin, rather my second and third. I don't care anymore. I'm going to play Genshin to whatever degree I can. If I miss out on some characters, oh well. I could care less. Because I know that these characters are going to be fundamentally the same as others, right? I respect this man. Just conquering FOMO is a hard thing when it comes to gacha games. Respect to this guy.
Right here, which means, my gamer dudes, the hopium is now gone. I now need to look at this game for what it is, and if there's a content drought and there's nothing to say, I'm gonna go play Neopets. I'm gonna go play something else, right?
Yeah.
We can come back and enjoy this as a community. That's okay, but stop worrying about your artifacts. I still care about my artifacts. I want to upgrade this because it's satisfying for me, and I want to hit hard. And I was just talking earlier, I want to get these artifacts and get really, really good ones so I have multiple tools. I'm really happy with some of these. I'm not going to perfect it more than this. Like, this is a perfect artifact for me. It's got EM, ER. I'm not going to freak out any more than this. But I want to get lots of tools and pieces of the puzzle because it is satisfying to me. And then when new content comes out, if I take a break, I come back. I've got all the keys and the tools and the locks and everything I need to have fun in the new content. That's the way I'm looking at it. But I am going to very much so get a good set of this. I'm going to move on to another set. I'm going to start building some of these other characters, like my Kuki Shinobi. I'm going to take her up to 80 or 90. I'm going to take her up to 80 or 90. I'm going to take her up to 80 or 90. I'm going to take him and her and stop min-maxing artifacts. Because why? I stomp everything in the game. I can stop everything in the game with 2 characters. I can stomp everything in the game with 1 good character and a level 50 character, and there is just no reason anymore.
He's
and
absolutely
there's
right.
No hope
Absolutely right,
down the road that I will need it.
Most players have been playing since the start of the game. Just need 1 or 2 characters in a party, and you'll pretty much beat the game. You know, you've been playing since day 1, and you have any of the big ones: Hu Tao, Ganyu, Zhongli, Zhao. You pretty much don't have to care about the game anymore on a numbers level, on a pure numbers level. So, yeah.
Of that stress
Spitting
on
facts.
my brain and just accept this for a mini-game fun game. If that's the case, I'm going to find it harder and harder to care about the meta or recommend characters. In fact, my coverage of the game may change now because I'm going to say they have officially announced that there will never be endgame. If you want this character, he's cool, he slams, he jams. If you like these characters that look fun, get them. And then the next video is...
Fuck. that is the definition of like the only guide you will ever need in Genshin. If you think of ever picking up Genshin, here's the guide. Whenever you encounter a character, do they look cool? They look cool? Oh, nice. Get them. You know? You like the visuals? Get them. End of story. You like the they look cool? Nah, get them. Nice. Numbers don't matter. Are they going to keep this up for HSR and ZZ or something? I hope not. Maybe for ZZZ. ZZZ, I don't know how they would implement like high competitive content because it's like very instant based or whatever, but HSR could easily have competitiveness. Like I said a few days ago, it's weird that there are still streamers that play Genshin, be it on Twitch or YouTube, and those streamers play Genshin every day, if not every stream. Oh yeah, I remember I tried to do that. It was miserable. I hated my life. As a casual player, nothing affecting me actually. Fair enough, dude. I'm expecting something better from HSR. I hope they don't be disappointed. Same, dude. I'm expecting more from HSR, but ZZ is a bit of in a limbo for me in terms of how I think they can turn it around. So, but yeah.
Does this guy look fun to you? And you want these characters? Get them. Wow, these weapons are pretty awesome. It's risky, but if you want them, do whatever the f you want, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, do you want to do some of this? Let's top up. No, I'm just kidding. Do you want to wish on this banner? I don't care. Because at the end of the day, if you build those characters, that's all you're going to need. I'm still going to recommend characters, but definitely is like limiting my reading this. Okay, now, so you know what? Now I'm starting to get like frustrated in my brain. I'm trying to be like kind of positive, but I'm not going to lie. Reading this, I actually think I don't value my account anymore. I don't care anymore about my account. This is actually like a really sick feeling.
Well, yeah. Of course it's a sickening feeling, dude. Essentially, what this means is people who have put thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, if anything, people have put that much money into the game, and they're now told 2 years later, 2 years, I know I'm very bright here, boys, I do apologize, I'm very bright, let me turn that down. 2 years later, people are told, oh, these characters that you're getting, they don't mean anything, actually. Right? These characters don't mean anything. It's like, you can't do that 2 years after the release of the game. You can't just tell players 2 years after the release, hey, actually, there's going to be no other endgame where you need these characters. You can't. That's just not right. That morally is not right. He's cool. The character's cool. That's the only reason to get them. No wonder Genshin have so many character mains. True. And in Twitch, if you watch streamer for 2 hours, you get 50 primos. That's still no. That's like a sellout reason to play the game then, or rather, not then, but rather. Probably yeah, but it's still mind numbing. You can still play other games. Like some streamers I saw play Genshin, but the stream is sponsored by a Raid Shadow Legend. It is weird. Even Mtashed is sponsored. That's why he can't leave. No, he can leave. He plays a lot of other games. By the way, because you're sponsored doesn't mean you can't leave the game. That doesn't make sense. Sponsored means that you're just, this one stream has to be centered around this one game, and then after that you can leave. It's just you have to have a sponsored stream or something like that. I think what you're thinking about, Albert, is a contract, which there's no gaming contracts where the gaming contracts aren't a thing.
I actually have almost no care anymore about this game. I think I'm going through a breakup right now internally, because like I did care about like my characters having like 5-star weapons, and like, oh, I landed that 5-star.
I should say what Mtashed has gone through right now is what's only people who have put money into the game, or at least people who have dedicated exorbitant amount of time to the game too, which I think he has. I don't know if he's actually put money into the game. I think he has put money into the game. I'm not sure. But like, if you're a heavy spender in this game in any way, you're probably going through a mental breakdown because of the game now, 2 years later, saying there's no end game or there's nothing like that coming ever. We can confirm now, right? And yeah, he's probably gonna have a mental breakdown right now.
Our weapon, like, this is so crazy. I actually think that I don't care. I just I'm gonna level some characters up. I'm gonna play with them, but I almost have zero, not respect for my account. It's like I guess it's kind of just like, what's the point anymore? We've kind of known what's the point.
So much time, and then they've said they're shutting down the server.
I just like,
well, Province, that's a good example like you spend so much time and then they shut down the server, but it depends on what the size of the game is, right? If it's a game that's struggling to stay alive, you know, and I myself have played one of these games. I used to play a game called Critica Online. Critica Reboot, it also went by. I used to play this game. I have about 500 plus hours in this one. And I was quite bummed out when its server shut down. But it's a different thing between the server shutting down and the game not giving you anything for a long time and kind of acting like it might give you something. Because the server shutting down, it did everything it could to stay alive, but money-wise could not live. Whilst Genshin right now, it has the money and it has the facilities and it has everything, every resource available to them to give the players exactly what they want, but they have just said, we don't want to do that. A slight difference in context, but you do have the general gist. I do agree, yes.
Have no sweat about it. That being said, yeah, maybe that's the best word, is ambition. I have no ambition for it. There's some things that I'm gonna want to, test out and have fun, but yeah, it's almost like my ambition is gone now, which is post-nut clarity. No, it's, I don't know, it's just, I guess it's just surprising to hear that.
Ambition is the greatest word. Like, you have just said, what am I pulling for this character for except just looks? Right, you're basing now all your roles off of just looks, right? There's no need for power, and thus, let's say this happens in Genshin, and I have no doubt that this will happen, right? 6 characters release that you just don't like the visuals for. That means you're just sitting there playing the game, not getting any new content for a very long time. There is a chance that might happen. The 6 characters release that you just do not like the visuals for. Let's say I just don't like any of the Sumeru characters. I'm like, yeah, I don't really vibe with Sumeru that much. Okay, so I guess I just don't roll on anyone that releases in Sumeru. It's like, that's now how people are going to be rolling in Genshin, because there's no reason for power, right? There's no other factor for rolling. Yeah, you could roll for fun gameplay, but it's like, that can only take you so far before the gameplay melds into random button pressing. So it's just very odd. How will these other streamers feel about this? Well, they probably don't care, right? For Toronto, if you've watched any of Toronto's content, it's a comedy-based content, right? It's not really end-game content-based content. It's not competitive content. It's comedy-based content. So the content creators who are based around just creating guides and character guides and just funny haha content, they'll be absolutely great. They're gonna enjoy the game, love the game. But the people who want to challenge, the people who want to push themselves to the limit as much as they possibly can, they're the ones that are gonna suffer.
Guys, I'm not quit. I enjoy the game. I'm gonna cover the new characters. So what you're saying is you're gonna pull for Sino? I know. I still want Nahida. I still want to get Nahida first because she looks like a fun tool. You know what? Okay. Let me address this. If you want to play Genshin Impact optimally and you want to have fun, get tools. Get pieces of the pie. That's how I'm going to describe it. Dendro MC is a tool. He allows a lot of electro reactions, but he's a pretty good Dendro unit. He's a piece of the pie. If you have him and you build him, you're going to be able to do lots of stuff. So you've got like one tool, right? Someone like Fischl could be really good. Maybe that's a tool. Kazuha, I would consider a tool. He is like an elemental damage booster. He can shred defenses with his artifact. He's another tool. Like, if you have some of these pieces of the pie, freeze comps, energy recharge, right? Maybe you want a Hydro DPS, or maybe you want a Cryo DPS, or maybe you want a Pyro DPS. But as long as you have a couple of these tools, right? A healer allows freeze comps to happen. A little bit of healing, tankiness allows Pyro reactions to happen. Big shields, or big shields. As long as you're covering some of these, you beat the game. You will be able to.
I just feel like a MOBA game I play. All the hype is just new expensive skins, but the game itself feel empty. Release new hero, then nerf, then old character get buffed and skin relief. Smite. Zyx, for example. Well, Zyx will be fine. He'll be fine, dude. Even with the ranking system, it felt dumb to continue the case with pros the same characters and nerf characters OP. It's just cycling itself. Or some people just want to milk character to C6 and then stop and wait for new character. Well, yeah, if it works for them, then it absolutely works. It's hard to improve Genshin without reworking the system? No. Just add an endgame system and that will fix Genshin. Add a competitive... You don't have to rework anything. You just have to add competitive systems and areas where people can exponentially play. You cannot play Genshin on repeat. That is the problem, right? Right? You cannot play Genshin on repeat. I can play Tower of Fantasy on repeat. I can play Honkai Impact on repeat. I can play a lot of games on repeat because they have something to do over and over again where I can always get a different result. I can always min-max. I can always tweak something, right? Genshin doesn't have that because A, it's limited by time. B, there's very little variety in builds and characters. And what I mean by variety in characters is different archetypes of characters and models and designs. And then also, where am I basing my results off of? I have to externally look for a place to weigh my own results. I have to look for other people. And if let's say I speed run the Spiral Abyss, I get my time. I get 12 minutes 55 seconds. I then have to look up manually myself. I have to, for some reason, look up online other people's speedruns. And it's like, why should I have to do that manually? That's why people are very bored. And so you don't have to rework anything. You just have to add things. It don't actually have to be PvP. It could just be a leaderboard and that enough. Exactly. PvP doesn't intrinsically mean fighting players by themselves. It doesn't mean two players in an arena fighting. PvP should never intrinsically mean that. PvP just means the players are pitted against each other in some way, shape, or form. Be it a leaderboard, be it a race. No, it doesn't have to intrinsically be a physical altercation between your in-game characters. That is not what PvP naturally means. It just means any way that the players can verse each other and just beat each other in some way, constantly ascending a ladder. That is what PvP should be more naturally attributed to, not actual physical fighting of the characters.
To beat all the
hide and
just
seek.
Have fun.
You know,
Don't
that
freak
could be
out
good.
about if this girl.
Even you play a visual novel on repeat because there's different routes. Well, still that's a single player experience though. Single player experience is slightly different
Is better than this guy, or
because it's still a limited amount of experience. Once you get all the routes done, you're done, right?
if this guy is more valuable than her, don't worry about that anymore. Just get the different tools that seem like they'll be different from what you already have, and I think you're gonna have a better time in Genshin Impact. Let's keep reading though and see what they say.
I'm okay. We
I
get
know
back
I'm
to
going
it.
on a bit of a tangent. So no more resin. There's no plans of more resin. New players have been a bit lost when starting the Summertime Odyssey event because they missed Fischl and Mona's first introductions. This also happened when Scaramouche showed up in Inazuma. That's actually a really good question. That is true.
So they actually have addressed this. Oh, okay. I'm gonna read this ahead. I'm going to read this ahead of Mtashed because I want to know right now. This also happened when Scaramouche showed up in Inazuma Arc on Quest after appearing in the limited time Mondstadt event called The Endless Stars or some shit. Coalescing Stars. Is the team considering adding a way for new players to see or replay old story-related content and cutscenes that only existed in past-time limited events? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you've been a part of my stream for a fair while, and if you've watched my Genshin vs. Honkai storytelling event, video rather, I bring this up as a fucking problem. I bring this up. Very much so. I mentioned, and also in the events video, I believe, as well, Genshin vs. Honkai events, I bring up the fact that they had limited time events that now have no fucking relevance. What is their reply? Well, here's their reply. We're aware of this issue and are looking into solutions for it. On one hand, stories from limited time events shall never become barriers to understanding and playing Arc on Quest. Yes, the fuck they will. On the other hand, we're also working on beginner tutorial adjustments, client capacity optimization, intelligent management of past content, and other optimizations. And as our technology and capacity grow, we hope to have useful solutions that the player welcomes. Just make it replayable. Just make it replayable. That's the simple solution. Make it replayable. Add it as a story thing and make all quests replayable. Make all quests replayable. You don't even have to do it just to this one fucking limited time thing. Make everything replayable. If I want to redo to get more context, if I missed something, let me do that. Don't have me sift through a column of text. That's not replaying. That's looking. I can look online. I can just look up the answers. The answer's done. Let me replay. That's the simple solution. Oh, on the other hand, the stories from the limited time shall never become barriers to understanding and playing the Arc Quest. They will. People get... Bro, I was introduced to the Scaramouche eons ago. I forgot what happens there, though. But it's important, because guess what? He says he understands the meaning of the universe. He says that word for word, that I believe he mentions the Jester, which is Piero, by the way, the first Harbinger. He mentions him and understanding the meaning of the universe. I feel that's pretty important. No. The absolute fucking state. Genshin's good enough. Fair enough, Albert. Fair enough, man. I hate limited events that relate to story. Lariel, me too, dude. Elysium Realm is an event, and then chapter 39 and 29, 39 appeared. Well, it was. At first, I thought Elysium Realm an event, but somehow now is an actual part of the story. Well, yeah, because it's a fun game mode, and thus you believe that. Yeah. It doesn't need much work to replay quests. You already have the models, and you don't have like insane cinematics. It's just talking NPC with the same posture gesture. Each one does have a cinematic. I'll be honest with you, it does have cinematized stuff here and there, so that's a bit wrong. It does have cinematics, but still, that shouldn't be a barrier of entry because there's there's MMOs that exist in the world that have like 4,000 cinematics, right? That have 5,000, 6,000, 12,000, millions of cinematics, right? There are MMOs that exist and they're still manageable. They still manage it all very well. Like Final Fantasy XIV and World of Warcraft have hundreds of thousands of cinematics all over its vast world, but they still let you replay it whenever the fuck you want. Essentially. Right? You can go back onto a different character and experience the same thing if you want. So this whole, as our capacity grows, you have $1 billion, just make it replayable.
Some story beats that happen.
Now,
where if you
the reason I read ahead is because I'm pretty sure Mtashed is going to roughly say the same thing.
For the FOMO event, too bad. We're aware of this issue and we're looking for a solution. On one hand, stories are limited time events, shall never become barriers to understanding and playing the Archon quests, but like, a little bit? Would you guys agree with that statement? The limited time events shall never become barriers to understand the Archon quests?
Really?
I feel like there is a bit of there has been a bit of lore.
What?
Even with the Scaramouche stuff.
What?
And some of the things they said. I mean, maybe you just won't have as much of an understanding.
No
but I
way.
feel like there's like a bit.
Yeah.
On the other hand, we're working on the beginner tutorial adjustments, client capacity optimization, intelligent management of past content, and other optimizations. As our technology and capacity grow, we hope to have some solutions for this. This means it's not going to get fixed for a long time. Just if you want the warning, this is developer talk. Or you're gonna have to wait like 2 years. It's fine. You don't have to. Costumes are added into the game last year, providing new.
Bro, he's a legend. Yeah, this essentially means it's never gonna happen. Fucking hell. Not the rewards. That's obvious, Albert. That's very obvious. Not the rewards. The rewards are limited time for a reason. The quest though, because it has canonical reasons. Obviously, story canonical reasons. You need to have the story there. Anyway, back to it. Continue.
New stylish looks. How likely is it that the traveler becomes a recipient of one of those? It's an intriguing idea to design outfits and accessories for regional characteristics for the traveler. We don't have anything to share in that front, but we're always considering this.
No shot. They've not got any words to express like an outfit for the traveler. The main fucking character has not even a conceptualization of an outfit. How can they type that with a straight face? How? It's the main fucking characters. How? They haven't even thought of it?
This means 1 to 2 years for a traveler costume. The traveler will almost never get a costume. They're going to work on other ones. My only thing is I am shocked that they haven't done more skins. They could make so much money from skins.
They could! They could make millions from the outfits! You know how many people would buy the outfits? They could make millions! Billions even! Okay, for those who don't know, Genshin makes average $25 million plus per banner. Every single banner is probably 25 million. You add a skin to that, every banner or every patch, an extra 50 million. Extra 50 mil, absolutely guaranteed. Easy. They would make so much. If one skin per patch, they would make exponentially more money. Holy shit.
Are really slow on it. It's almost bizarre. I mean, I don't want them to milk us for more money, but as a business, you'd think they'd do more. As a follow-up to the previous question.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sorry, yeah, that should be absolutely expressed. Like, milking people for money is not that great, but it's just a business move, so it's a bit odd to be like, you could be making more money, but you're not. What's up with that? I feel odd about this article. Maybe mistranslation of Chinese. No, it's not mistranslation. It's not mistranslation. It's not a mistranslation.
Get fun accessories during quests, like a mask or a flower crown. They can only be worn for short periods of time. What about turning on accessories? We have been discussing this question within the team and other ideas similar to it.
Sorry. Let's stop it right there. We've been discussing this one question. The question that they've been discussing over all the other questions that have gone up that they aren't discussing. The one question they are discussing is about turning off and on cosmetics. Sorry, not even cosmetics, accessories, like a floral hat. That's what you're discussing? You've got bigger things to be discussing! You've got many more important things to be discussing!
However, we don't have any details. Okay, so this is not happening for a long time, almost ever. On top of Genshin Impact, Hoyoverse is currently working on Honkai Impact 3rd, Zenless Zone Zero, and Honkai Star Rail. There's been crossovers between Genshin and Honkai with Kaching and Fischl. I actually have Fischl on my Honkai Impact account. Any plans to do the reverse? In terms of characterization, we wish to channel more effort and attention to creating characters for the world of Genshin Impact. If there are new opportunities for crossover in the future, we will share them.
What
AKA,
a shit response.
No plans of crossovers from Honkai into this game. We want to
Oh, fuck my life. Essentially, you can summarize that. Any chance of a Honkai character coming... The question is very good. Any chance of a Honkai character coming to Genshin? And they'd be like, probably not there. Probably not there. What? Whatever. I'm just gonna let Mtashed continue talking because he's an absolute genius.
focus on building the characters in World of Genshin because it makes us $3 billion. There's no other stuff. Every answer so far has been depressing. Wait, is that the end?
Bro, it's so true. This whole... It's just... okay. In the end, I'm not too fussed. Because I don't really fucking care because I've accepted it. But it boggles the mind, does it not? Like, that's what it does to me. Is like, I'm sitting here, it's like, you're just missing... You're just fucking it up. You're just fucking it up, dude. That's what you are doing, Mario. You're throwing away opportunity with the skins, right? People would pay for a Traveler skin. End of story. People would pay for it. End of fucking story. It's that easy. People would come back and compete if there was an end game. People who have quit would come back and be like, oh shit, let's get into it. Let's fucking go. I'ma buy the new character and I'ma bust it ass. I'ma bust ass in this new fucking endgame mode, right? People will do that. Like, and they're like, nah, absolutely not. There will be none of this. None of this fun. Oh, okay. Even though that is the end of the post, we got still like 10 minutes of the video left, so let's go.
Is that it? Every single answer was like, yeah, we're not doing that. That was kind of depressing.
Yes.
I've lost all of my like drive to upgrade my account. I'm still gonna do it because like I want to see where this Archon quest goes, but I'm very reward driven as a player. I think
Everyone is. If you are not reward driven, what are you doing things for? You do things to achieve something. If I go down to the shop, if I go down to my local shop just for a walk, what have I achieved? Well, right, if I went down there for a breath of fresh air, I've achieved it, right? I've probably got a breath of fresh air. But if I go down there for milk and I don't get milk, then I haven't achieved my goal and I am dejected. That is what people do. They do things to get things. I don't do things for things that don't exist. I'm not going to walk for the sake of nothing. I walk for a reason. I do things for a reason. I play games for a reason. I play games to feel the thrill. That's me, right? I don't really care for materialistic rewards. I care for the thrill. I want intensity. I want fun. I want not necessarily competitiveness, but I'm there for that. And when the game dev team just says, hey, we're just going to stop rewarding you. Like, we understand that you want rewards and you want this fun, but that's just not what we're like. We don't really want that. We want to make a safe fucking community, a safe space, a fun mini game area. It's like, well, obviously I'm going to be fucking depressed now. Like, I've got nothing to do.
past is like, I do a lot.
They need a guide from the Honkai team. They need a guide from any other team other than themselves. They keep connecting everything to the story, and yet that they deny that event have no connection to story. Fucking
Out of these events.
True.
Not because I'm having fun. Like win trace and tag. Some people love that, and I get it. Literally, the only reason I play the tag is for Primo Gems, because I know it leads to characters and more tools. I am hyper reward driven, and it's one of the reasons why with Destiny I've quit is because I don't find many of the rewards worth it. A lot of the gear that I get is not an upgrade. It's never an upgrade. And so it doesn't feel like I have a reason to play. And so I am very reward driven, and things like Primo Gems, I play it because I...
And listen, this, I'm not going to say this is the normal way to look at things, but this is like, I'm not even going to say it's a better way to look at it, but this is a good way to look at things, is to get rewarded for investing time. There's no worse feeling for a human being than investing time and getting nothing out of it. If you do that, if you invest hours upon hours upon hours to get absolutely nothing out of it, what other feeling do you have than literal depression, literal emptiness? You're like, well, that's my time wasted. And guess what? Time is fucking valuable, right? So, in a way, if you really stretch the truth here and stretch what Mihoyo has said here about Genshin, is that the time that you've put into the game over the past 2 years means absolute but fuck all, right? That's essentially what they've said. Not literally, because you've gotten things and you've gotten power, but it doesn't lead to anything. It's just there. You've gotten it. Congrats. It doesn't do anything, though. It's like getting a bike. You've got the bike, but you're not going to ever ride it. You've got the bike, though. Congrats, man. You've got a bike, but it means absolutely nothing. You can't even... You don't know how to ride it, actually. You actually don't have legs.
I want to progress. But now, because my account is so good, and I have so many tools, I discussed this earlier, I have all the tools, I'm less inclined to care about a random 4-star weapon that's not an upgrade, and the event that has that weapon. There are less characters in this game that excite me, that I want, that are a tool for me to use, because I can already beat everything, and I know it will never get harder. It will literally never get harder than now, and I can already stomp it.
It's also just like, it's like being a tradesman. Maybe that's an Australian slang for just a worker, a general manual laborer. It's like owning all the tools you'll need. You got your hammer, you got your drill, you got your saw, you've got all the tools that you need. You're not going to be too excited about the release of another one, right? You're not going to be like, oh, I just bought this hammer, but another hammer came out. Oh, I need that one. No, you've got everything. So what am I here for? Why is that here for? I don't need to be here. I don't need to be in a Bunnings warehouse to buy another hammer. I've got one. That's exactly what Mtashed is feeling right now. Valid as fuck.
My urge to min-max is almost nothing. And because my urge to min-max is almost nothing, here's the big thing that I'm finding. I want to get a good set of this. I said earlier, I want to get a good set of this.
Yep.
So I have this as a tool. I like the idea of having this as a tool. But if I know that I can just slap on a generalist set like this and stomp everything, I'm less interested in grinding this. And if I can use a generalist set like this with good substats, maybe not this one, I'm less inclined to farm the new art, like any of the new artifact sets. And a good example of this,
I'll get to it before him. A good example of this is like the artifact domain released alongside Ayato. There was no reason to farm that because Gladiator's finale did it pretty much the exact same way. And then also at the same time, 4-set Hydro did the same fucking thing. So they released an artifact set, but the previous ones did the same thing. They got the same job done. It's roughly the same numbers, maybe a give or take three whole different in damage, and it's like that's it. Alright, so what's the point of the release of this new set? Absolutely nothing. It's there for no reason. Like, oh, it's so aggravating. Alright, continue.
this is, I think, is for Ayato. But the Ayato set is like super niche.
I
and
fucking
maybe
knew
this
he would
is
say it.
for someone,
I knew
but
he would
it's
say
not
it.
good enough for me to care.
Exactly.
To farm it over the Hydro.
Exactly. That's
And,
exactly the
something
set I was
this is
referencing.
Like, yes, I could get it and get a working set, but it's not good enough.
Why would you do it?
Division
You
2.
have gladiators. You have Hydro set. They're there. They've been there since the creation of the game. I don't need to farm this new thing. They get the same job done.
There was a gun called the Custom P416. The Custom P416 was the best assault rifle in the game. And getting better stats on that assault rifle meant that I could beat the content faster, to farm other stuff faster, and there was value in getting that upgrade, and I was excited about it because I could clear it faster, I could get more upgrades and maybe different things, test new weapons, and I was so focused and driven. I just want a new one. I want a better one. I want to improve it. I want to be able to do the raid better. I want to get this freaking gun, right? I was so hyper-focused on it. I was so excited on it. And I got one, and it was a slight upgrade. But I knew it could get better. I still hunted it down. Because I knew that I could get faster. I could do the raids quicker. I could carry people because I do so much damage. And like, there was that drive
Refinement.
inside to...
The refinement of your prowess. There's a reason. Like, if anyone's ever watched competitive rating in anything, or competitiveness, when you're watching the people who compete in practice, you see them tweak things so minutely. They're aiming. If they're playing an FPS, oh, I flicked too far. Okay, let me adjust my flick. If they're raiding in an MMO, they're adjusting their positioning every single time they redo the boss. They fail hundreds of times. They fail until they refine their craft. That's exactly this. Gear refinement, getting the extra 1% damage, getting the extra 2% damage, so you can clear that one thing a bit faster. It stimulates your senses, dude. It's 5 gum. Stimulate your senses, dude. It's that fucking simple. Should meet up with Mtashed. I'll call him tonight. Mtashed, what's up, dude? Let's meet up. Australia, fair cop. Well, I think he's in America. I'm in Australia.
Get that gun and get improvement, and I would craft different, I was like always crafting in the game and trying to get upgrades so I could do the content better, because I knew there was raids and more raids coming, and I just wanted to be the best. I now am the best. I am the best. I've beaten everything. I've beaten it with 2 characters. I could beat it with almost 1 character. I won. And now I almost don't want to play. I had copium for 2 years that, well, maybe after Shneznaya. I knew it probably wouldn't happen, but finding out officially is like a real punch in the gut. I guess it's time to start looking for what's the future gonna look like. I feel like One Punch Man. Yeah, I'm psyched up right now.
True and real.
だよな。圧倒的な力ってのはつまらないもんだ。
I'm One Punch Man. I'm like purposeless. I'm not trying to be rude. I think I've been relatively positive considering, but I'm just telling you how I feel. Is like, wow, it's over. It's kind of like we have our answer, and I don't love the answer. I know this sounds.
It's very disappointing, isn't it? It's very disappointing. It's a disappointing outcome to be told that the game's power essentially doesn't mean anything. Here's the thing. I think I'm going to still probably play Genshin for a very long time. I don't know how long, but I will continue to play it for a very long time, right? I like the story very much. I like the character design and whatnot. And I'm probably a bit different in view from Mtashed. I haven't necessarily beaten the game. I'm not that great at it. But it's like I'm very close to that, and I love the story. I think the story is great. But like, you know what it feels like is the story. You get the story in such small doses. It's almost like, for anyone who here has heard of The Witcher 3 or played The Witcher 3, you'll understand the reference. It's like getting one quest every 6 weeks in The Witcher. That's essentially what it feels like. So you start off in the first starting area of The Witcher 3, and you kill a few things with Vesemir. And then after you kill a few things, you have to wait 6 weeks to continue the quest and look for Yennefer. And then you go towards the next zone with the Red Baron, and then you just get to that zone where the Red Baron is, and then you have to wait 6 weeks. And then you can start the Red Baron quest. It's like, that's what they're doing now. That's essentially the whole game. Is just you're waiting for the story to come out. So there's almost no reason to play the game on a week-by-week basis or even a day-by-day basis unless you're looking just to be a collector. which 90% of people aren't. Well, maybe not 90%. Probably a large majority of people, maybe 80, 60% of people don't want to just collect. They want to collect and more. So it's so disappointing. And as Mtashed just said, it's like, I knew this was happening. I knew this was going to happen. I knew there wasn't going to be an end game. The moment that Spiral Abyss got shat on, right, like by everyone, the end game was talk shit like by everyone all the time, and then they never did anything about it. It's been, people have talked shit about Spiral Abyss for like since like patch 1.5, maybe even earlier, 1.2, 1.3, when people got Venti and people started one-shotting everything with like Diluc and whatnot. People were like, yeah, it's easy. Like, there's nothing here. I want to go further. But they haven't changed anything. Or to that, I believe anymore. Absolutely. I think after this post, not a lot of people are going to do stuff. Like the big boys, I think Tectone is probably going to slowly move away from Genshin. Play it, obviously, whenever something interesting happens, and so is Mtashed. But, like, not much will change within the people who make comedy out of it. Or people who make raw guide videos, right? People like you guys have named, Zyox, Tenor, Tuonto, these guys who make productive, comic-based videos or information-based videos on the game. They're not going to drop off they're not going to drop out of the game because it's just, they're providing the same information that they've always provided. This is the best way to play this character, although you don't need to play them the best way. This is the way that you play the character. And then comedy will always be alive, right? Comedy can't die. So the only people that will suffer from this is people who have been playing with the context of building up a super powerful arsenal to eventually be really good at the game. Or people who really want to be competitive. These are the only people that will suffer. And guess what? It's probably a small minority of players that really wanted this. Like myself, I'm not too bothered, but people like Mtashed, who likes gear grinding, likes refinement, and then other players who really like to refine and become the best, they're probably like, well, I'm the best now, so bye.